And we're back. Welcome to another episode of the Flagship podcast, and I'm excited today. We have two incredible individuals joining us today. Please help me welcome Jeff and Troy, who are the co-owners of Pinnacle Systems and Flagship Podcast Studios, title sponsor. They're the ones who have helped us make this dream happen of giving a voice to Madison County. And so it's just been incredible getting to know you guys. Thank you for being here today.
No, my pleasure.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's been an incredible just journey getting to know you guys and just see sort of your heart for the community, a heart for people. For the audience who maybe do not know you, if you both could maybe share a little bit about what Pinnacle Systems actually does, how long you guys been doing it, why you do it, what you guys do for fun, all that fun stuff. Just set the stage for us.
All right, I'll start. I'm Troy. We've been in business for 23 years. We are a audiovisual contractor. We do podcast studios like this. We do flat panel TVs everywhere. We travel all over the United States doing corporate AV. We've done basketball arenas. We've done football stadiums, baseball stadiums. We do churches. We do theatrical lighting. I don't want to take everything, Jeff. So
no, you go right ahead. I'm just watching.
Let's see. Churches, we do school intercom.
You do everything.
Everything low voltage. So
I don't know what that means.
What low voltage is anything up to 110 volts of electricity. So we're not licensed electricians, so we don't do anything with electrical power. We're not licensed to do that.
Okay.
And a couple of things we don't do is nurse call and fire alarm.
Okay.
Because that's life safety. Okay. Life safety that's a whole nother animal.
You lean more into the entertainment and functionality of campuses, entertainment venues, religious venues, school education,
house of worship,
like cool.
Schools, K-12. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how long have you guys been doing this?
23 years.
You go right ahead. It's your show.
That's my show.
One thing I've learned through in Leadership Academy, you don't always have to lead. I'll just let my brother take off and go.
You can't just hide though, Jeff.
No, I'm here when I need to be.
Okay. So 23 years doing this. What got you guys
self-employed for 23 years?
Self-employed. Okay, so doing it longer, but self-employed for 23 years.
There is a story I would like to share, and I'll go back to how we started the business. We had an opportunity come up to do a large project. Troy and I have been praying about it for quite some time. And growing up, I've always told my kids, don't be a what-iffer throughout life. Going to basketball prom, and sometimes you don't think your kids listen.
Jeff, what is a what-iffer?
We're going to find out.
All right,
here.
we're going to find out what a what-iffer is.
So I come in the house one day, and my daughter's like, Dad, what's been going on with you? And I said, Troy and I have been praying about this, if we should start this business or not. And she said, Dad, don't be a what-iffer, because if you don't follow through on what you've been telling us as kids, then what good is it? So that was all the confirmation I needed. So I went back to Troy, I called him, was crying like a baby. Dude, God spoke, and we're going to start our business, and here we go.
No, that's incredible. Don't be a what-iffer. I've been wrestling with that myself. It's I've shared with you guys separately, and I'm sure at some of the episodes prior I've said this, but me and my wife, we've been on the journey of launching our own business, and it comes to that point of like, don't just, what if we did this? Like, what happens when you actually do something? Like,
you just got to attempt to open the door, kick it open. If it doesn't, you'll know it real quick.
Yeah, you kick the door open, and if there's nothing there, you go to the next door.
Right.
You don't let somebody tell you, no, you can't.
So what was inside of you that made you guys want to do your own thing? Like, obviously you felt maybe there's sort of a spiritual or maybe even like meta call. You felt called to do this, but what parts of like being an entrepreneur, creating something really resonated with you?
He and I worked for probably 4 or 5 different AV contractors together. Yeah. And we moved to Chicago together and worked for a contractor in Chicago. We were here in Indianapolis working, and it just seemed like a great niche because we've had experienced so much. We've traveled together for so many years and doing so many different things with AV. We thought, you know what? This is a great opportunity for us to not be a what-iffer.
Yeah.
And just do it. My first wife was 4 months pregnant for my third child.
Wow.
And I came home and said, I'm quitting my job. I'm going to start a business. Here we go.
Yeah.
So that was
it's
quite
not for the faint of heart.
It's not. It is work. It's a lot of work, and there's a huge investment.
It's funny because like I've had conversations with people who work for other people, and they're always like, I just want to have my own company or work for myself because then I can set my own hours. It's like,
oh, right.
That's not how it works. It's working for an employer is easy.
Yeah.
Working for yourself is way harder. There's no off time.
No, there isn't. You always carry your leash with you someplace. Because somebody can get a hold of you.
Well, and so you guys both, I know, are family people.
Correct.
You guys have kids. You guys have been married at points. How have you found that balance of like being able to be involved with family, but also lean into your business and again, because a business requires a lot. Tell me a little bit about that journey of maybe where you guys have been, where you guys are trying to be, where you guys currently at with that balancing act.
So but when COVID hit, we traveled all over this countryside. And once COVID happened, it was a blessing for us because it allowed us to start doing more of our own instead of relying on subcontract and allowing us to be home with our families.
So before that, you were mostly on the road?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Yep. And as we've grown, we've got a lot of good workers, good support team, and it's a lot of responsibility being an owner.
Because primarily what we've done is we're subcontracted by probably the three largest AV contractors in the country.
Okay.
So they would call us, you want a job? Sure, we'll do it.
Yep.
And then that primarily took us away from our families out on the road.
Yeah.
And, thank God for FaceTime and technology so you can put your kids to bed on an iPad or a phone now. And it's not the same thing, but I'm thankful for the technology that we've had to see our kids grow up, maybe on a phone or a tablet or something like that. But when you come home, it's just, it's a constant focus. It's like, I'm not on the road, I'm home.
Yeah.
And it's family.
But brother, you remember early on, we didn't have that technology.
Yeah.
We're a lot older, so we didn't have that until,
recent.
a while back.
Yeah. So it's a fine balance.
Yeah.
It's like walking a tightrope. You have to try and balance everything that you can, and make every moment count.
Yeah. So Jeff, you said, COVID was sort of a blessing in disguise. Like it allowed you guys to sort of bring it back home.
Yep.
Tell me about that journey, because I know you guys have done stuff all over the nation, and really I've gotten to know you guys in the last year, and the amount of community involvement that you guys do is just, it blows me away. You guys are either sponsoring everything or attending everything, showing your faces, being involved, getting to know people, and just trying to hear stories and be a part of good things. So tell me how that transition took place. Like, how did it go from, oh, we're never home, we're traveling, and we get to come home just to pretty much see our families, to now being highly involved in Madison County?
I can tell you this. When COVID happened and allowed us to be home more, we started getting plugged in with our community because we knew that we couldn't rely on the subcontract side of it. So we had to start, getting work for ourselves.
Sure.
And when that happened, it allowed us to say, hey, we need to get plugged in. So that's like joining the chamber, reaching out, trying to do flyers, and going through the leadership class, with you and others. And it's been amazing because God has timing, right?
Sure.
And this has been this perfect timing. And we were frustrated there for a while, didn't understand it. We know now. So we've always helped out with missions and different things, but trying to really get plugged in with the community, and we can touch on that a little bit more. But to me, it's been fantastic.
Well, with COVID, when it changed the face of corporate America.
It did.
Yeah.
It really did, because that brought probably a lot of business owners had to regroup and go, how do we continue? How do we move forward?
A lot of businesses didn't make it.
Correct.
Right, that's correct. So corporate America changed so much that people are staying from home. And now you have a lot of video conferencing, and everything is on your laptop, and you look nice from the waist up, and all that kind of stuff. So all of the larger installs we used to do were they scaled way back.
Okay.
So that impacted our business. So we had to really evaluate, where are we at? How can we yeah, Jeff's got that coined phrase. I don't think he coined it, but he used it. We had to make a pivot in our business.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? So we started really looking at our community. And one of the big things that we did was to get involved with the chamber here in Madison County.
Yeah.
It's been...
Shout out to the Madison County Chamber.
Absolutely.
Clayton, Patty, and Rachel.
Absolutely.
You guys do a great job.
Yeah. So it's been a blessing to be a part of that, to get involved. And I mean, we've got the meetings that we go to, the power-ups. It's just, you meet so many people. And the networking.
Small businesses that we meet.
Yeah.
I mean, the business owners.
Yeah.
It's just, it's been fantastic.
And to hear the heart of the people when they get up, they get their 60 seconds or 30 seconds, whatever it is, to tell what they do. It's like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So it makes me feel like we're like a 23-year overnight success. It took us 23 years to be an overnight success.
Yep.
So
that's all the stories, right? Like
Yes.
everybody hears like this quick flip.
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
no, we've been doing it for a long time. Nobody
a long
knew it.
time. Yeah. So when we started going to the chamber, just like, who are these guys? Who are they?
Yeah.
Where'd they come from? You've been in business for 23 years, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to what you were saying, Jeff, about, you said really getting to know your community. So tell me about ways in which you guys started to get to know your community, because obviously you said the chamber, which was a big aspect, but I'm thinking of people who, nowadays, the local isn't local anymore. Like a lot of times people go to church down the freeway. People, work a few cities away. They live somewhere else. Like everybody's so segmented. And along with that is now we're even more so nomadic than we used to be. People move all the time. They jump states. They do different things. I mean, I'm from California. I moved here only in 2020. I've only been here 4 years. And so with all those changes of really local, changing even what we define as local, for those people who maybe are more nomadic, who've moved around a lot, or maybe who their local community is scattered. They work in a city away. They go to church in a different city. Their kids go to school somewhere else. All these different things. How would you say you guys? What am I asking? What would you guys do to get connected? Like, how would you recommend, or how would you say, because you guys have clearly done an incredible job at this in the last, year or two. You guys have made a clear presence and an impact. Share with the audience about, like, what does it mean to be connected? Because it's not just about, oh, I live here. It's definitely more than that. And so I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
I'd like to take a step back, if you don't mind. So, when Troy and I moved away to Chicago, and then when we came back home, of course, Guy and everybody leaves town, and we complain about our community and those things, and we chose to keep our business here and keep things going because we believe in Madison County and just trying to make a difference. And then when the Leadership Academy happened, it just made me realize I don't have to go home, shut the door on the world. I realize there's other things that we can do. So that just helped us. It helped me come back to the guys and say, listen, there's so much we can do to give back. Like there's volunteer work. There's just not just financially, but I've never looked at myself as a servant at all. I always help. But just going through the Leadership Academy, I realized there's a lot of volunteer stuff. So it's important for us to help and give back. I don't know if that answers your question, but it just, to me, it's like we can do better. There's a lot that we can do.
I think just being a part of the chamber, just hearing the heart of all the entrepreneurs that are there, or it's a representative of another company, it's like you really realize that there's a big world out there. But when you talk to people individually, it's not that big. It really isn't, because we're connected in so many different ways. And if you will allow yourself to get out of the way, you can get involved. You really can. Because when we were traveling so much, it's just, you're out beating the pavement and doing the best you can. We have 9 different families that rely on he and I to feed them and whatever, keep work going and things like that. But when you get yourself out of the way and realize that there is so much more opportunities to get involved, just listening to people when they stand up at the chamber and talk about what company they represent and how you can get involved. There are so many opportunities. You can't get involved in everything, but you find your niche and you make it work.
You both said something similar, and so I want to touch on that and hear a little bit more about that. You said getting out of your own way, and you talked about what it means to be a servant, which seems to be connected. And so tell me a little bit about more of that philosophy of what you mean by that, of like, how do you get out of your way?
I'll start every morning since leadership, right? The academy. I was like, Lord, what am I doing? Why am I going here? And I didn't have a purpose. I didn't know what this was about. So I got up every morning. I said, God, just lead me. I'm going to get emotional, but just lead me. Like, get out of your own way and let God take control. And you can go ahead, brother, because it's tough. Like, I know I'm emotional.
Tears are okay, Jeff.
It is what it is.
Well, I'm going through the leadership academy too, through him.
Through him.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's hard not to around Jeff.
It's neat to see him get out of his own way, absolutely, because he has absolutely changed. Because whatever's happened in Leadership Academy, it's drawn a piece of him out that we've been together for 30, 40 years probably, known each other, and I'm only 42.
Don't look at me.
So, but just for him to allow God to use him in ways that he's never been used before. Because there's times I see him in the office, because our temperaments are completely different. I'm really laid back and chill, and Jeff's a little higher end.
Or type A, yeah.
Type A. We'll go with type A. Yeah. And now he's sitting back watching everybody. It's neat to see him, like I said, get himself out of the way and just watch everybody around, just be a community in our own team. And he sits back and watches. And before it wasn't. It was just.
I was always leading out front, boisterous. Like, I'm finding out I don't have to be that way. I can learn. Just listen. Be present. When somebody's having a communication or you're having communication, stop, listen, look at them in the eye. That's one thing my wife said. Yep.
My turn. My turn again. Okay.
Well, so because you both are sort of touching on it, but I'm trying to get a little further deeper into that, because you've said something has changed since you've been at the Leadership Academy. And so again, shout out Dr. J, Leadership Academy, best class ever. There we go. And Troy, you said even something like you've seen it come out of Jeff. Something new has sort of like awakened there. What if you could define that? And maybe you can't. Maybe we have to explore that a little bit more. What do you think it is?
It just seems like I don't know if it's just a business thing, entrepreneurial side of people, that you just are driven to chase it, and you never catch it.
You never get it.
You don't.
You don't catch it.
It's always there.
And then there comes a defining moment. Whatever that defining moment is, it's unique to everyone. Whatever your defining moment is, that it's like, I don't have to be in charge. It doesn't have to be my way. It can be somebody else's way. You have great ideas. You have great ideas. You have great ideas. Time for me to sit back and listen. That's what I mean by getting out of the way. It's okay to look somebody in the eye and wait for the conversation to be over. And don't just respond to respond. You listen to what they said, and then you can give an intelligent response with some great direction or understanding. That before that time, you didn't have that. It was just, nope, it's my way. I got to do it this way. I've got it. From 9 to 5, I got to be this and this and this. No, you don't. It's okay to be vulnerable.
Exactly. That's what, and this journey has rubbed off on Troy and Derek as well, which has even taken our relationship, our business, our vision, all of this stuff to a whole nother level. So.
Well, it sounds like it's a combination of, I'm going to sort of define these if I can, and you can tell me if I'm off. It sounds like it's a combination of sort of the characteristic of humility.
Oh, absolutely.
Mixed with a growth mindset.
Yep.
It's this idea that I don't know enough, so now I need to sit back and learn.
Yep.
It's there's still margin for me to learn. And I'll say it, so I hope I don't offend, but you guys are older.
We are. And I was called grandpa of the class. So come on.
You were. That was not me, though, to be fair. But typically men in your age bracket are not there. They are not willing to learn. They have learned.
Right.
And they think that they're done. They're towards the end of their careers, and they're like, no, I've done it. I've already learned it. I've said what I've had to say. And that is not what you guys are presenting. You're presenting something vastly different, especially for, let's say, typical guys in your age frame who have done successful things such as you guys have.
Right. Yeah. So something that's very important. I need to get closer to this mic. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
The longer we can stay in business and be successful, that means we can help our community more. So that's one thing I'm very passionate about. Troy can tell you, I'll help a stranger. It doesn't matter. And like Jesse said, Jeff, you can't save everybody. You can't help everybody. You got to find those things you're passionate about and stick in that lane. But sometimes we can do the others too. But I do. That's just my character. That's how I've always been built. But anyway, with that being said, we just want to continue to be successful, continue to grow this business so we can help and do more for our community.
It's been nice recently that people are starting to call us to help out because we were at the Salvation Army yesterday. We got a phone call from them. We met somebody at the chamber, shout out again, that they needed some help. Yeah. So just to walk in that building and look around and go, it's an honor to be here to help.
Yeah.
It's not that I've arrived, because Jeff and I have done some pretty amazing things. I was a part of the 96 Olympics, working on the sound system for the 96 Olympics. We've done the
Bankers Life, Conseco.
Yeah, the Pacers basketball arena. We've done the sound system in that twice. From the very beginning, and then when they revamped. Notre Dame football stadium. We've done so many things, but just to be able to be plugged into your community and go, this is an honor.
Yeah.
This is an honor, and it's not a small thing. It's an honor to be here, to give maybe some of the wisdom that we've picked up over the years and help. And if it's not a big, full-blown system, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
We can help somebody and be an encouragement to somebody, and really, ultimately for us, as a faith-based company, it's about spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Amen.
It is.
Yeah, we have about 5 or 10 minutes left, and so I want to lean into two things I heard you share. And so the first thing, I want to go back to that idea of a growth mindset and where you guys are at in your career. For maybe some of those listening that are maybe mid-career and leading into later in their career, how do you guys cultivate that growth mindset on a day in and day out? Because especially people who've been in the grind for long periods of time, you get on autopilot and you just get in the grind and you're just like, I'm just here until retirement. And once retirement hits, I'm done. And that's not a growth mindset. That's just stagnation. That's like you're waiting for the timer to click and I put my time in and I'm done. It's just like, well, that clearly is not how you guys are living. You guys here again have been doing this for your own company for 23 years, and you're still saying, well, how do we grow? What do we do next? And that's not common. I talk to a ton of entrepreneurs, and that is not a common. At this point, they're saying, how do I retire? How do I sell my company? How do I do this? How do I do that? And that's just a different perspective, which is incredibly encouraging to me. And so what are some practices that, for some people listening, maybe they need help of switching that mindset, getting themselves to a place where they are not in stagnation, not in comatose, but in a place where they get up and they say, today can be a little different, and that's a good thing. Today can start putting us in a certain trajectory. Doesn't matter the age.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff.
Well, to me, it's purpose, present. Like when I get up in the mornings, Josh, I can tell you, I still not just owning the business, I love what I do. So finding that passion, that job that you love, right?
Yeah.
And the people around you. So the reason why we're not talking about retirement, because we feel like we have people that really still count on us, even though we're heading there. Like Derek passing us down, Troy's son. There's a lot of people that's been with us 22 years plus, and they believed in us. The one thing that we'd love to do is just have fun, honestly. We enjoy it. We're a family atmosphere. Yeah. I mean, we do. We laugh all the time. It's just, I can't tell you. Just make work fun.
Yeah.
Love getting up and going to your job. I would hate that, and I can tell you this. I turned 59 in May. I started this when I was 16 years old, installing car and home stereos at Top and Sound, the building that we bought.
That's really cool.
We've been there 13 years, and it's just, I get chills talking about it, because I used to joke with my old boss, Pat Topolsky. I'll give him a shout out. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today. Sure. And it's just, I always used to say, I'm going to own this building someday, or this business, and here we are.
Yeah.
But anyway, just be passionate. Just love getting up and going to work, and just have fun.
Yeah, you have to choose that, right?
Yeah.
You can't just wake up and like, oh, I'm in love. It's like, no. It's like you have to work at that. And
it's a choice.
Whether that's, again, whether that's a marriage thing, relationship thing, friendship, brotherhood, as you guys have talked about, whether that's your job. You have to wake up and say, I'm going to choose to enjoy my day. I'm going to choose to love where I work and put my best out. It's a hard decision to make.
Right.
I've definitely had my bad employers in the past, so it's just not this one. No, I'm kidding.
So it's a choice that, like you said, Josh, it's a choice that, it's not an us and them.
Right.
We are really like a family. We sit down with our team and just, is there anything going on in your life? What's going on? I mean, it's an open forum for us. You can come to us and talk to us about anything. There's nothing off the table. If you don't like working here, tell me why you don't like working here, and we'll work through it.
Yeah.
And that's
you want it to be a place where they
absolutely.
Like working.
It's just
it's not a place to show up and get a paycheck.
No,
that's not what we're about.
That's not what we're about. It's a team atmosphere, and we love the guys that work with us, and we cut up and have a really good time.
I think that's necessary. I've heard that from a handful of people that I've talked with recently, and fun has to be a core value.
Yeah. It does.
It does, and because it sets the tone for the rest of your life too.
Yeah.
We only have a few minutes left, and so I wanted to make sure I had a segment where we can talk a little bit about. Again, I mentioned this at the beginning, but you guys chose to come aboard and partner with Flagship and sponsor this podcast studio, and people listening could be like, well, yeah, they're an AV company. Of course they would do that. But I don't think it's that simple. We met it's coming up at the end of this month, it will be a year where I met you first, Troy. Yeah. And we met at the grand opening of this place where we had sort of done a pseudo podcast studio. We put some stuff in and said, it works. It turns on. Yeah. And you came up to me and you shared, you shared you love the perspective of giving people a voice. Yeah. How can I be a part?
Yeah.
And I remember that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't know how you can be a part. I guess we have to discover that. But share a little. I'll lead this one. Let you lead this one, Troy. Like when we started that a year ago, and we were here in this building, and you had something hit you. What triggered that made you want to be a part of this? Why we're here now? Why we have great equipment? We're able to produce high quality content, give people a voice, have great conversations like this. Why?
It was just something when I walked in here, because the atmosphere that you guys have in this facility, it's amazing. There's just something about this place that contagious. I can use that. It's contagious. And when I seen this, what you guys had started with our background, I thought, you know what, we can elevate this and make it better than what you guys had started, because you had a great foundation. And immediately, I think I told you, I said, I want to be a part of this. And it is good ground to sow in. It really is great ground to sow in. And the more we get to know you and what Terry is spearheaded and all the team members here at Flagship, it's been a fantastic investment. It has, because what you guys have going on here, it's mind-boggling. You guys just continue to move forward and inspire.
There ain't no rest for the wicked, you know.
No, it's good ground to sow in. It is.
I remember when Troy came back and says, "Hey, I think this is something we need to do." Didn't understand it. I haven't been. I was like, brother, if you're that, go, just go.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and again, we're this isn't a Christian podcast, but I'm a Christian and you guys are too. So I guess, sorry for whoever's listening and doesn't like this. But I'll say, like, it's interesting how God orchestrates things. Yeah. And, we met a year ago. And then, we did some things. I started to get to know Derek. I met Jeff off and on. But then all of a sudden, I start the Leadership Academy, and, well, there's Jeff. Yep. And then, all of a sudden, there was this opportunity that occurred it wasn't just going to be hey, we did a business transaction, shake hands. It was good doing a partnership. Yeah. Wish you the best. But it started becoming something more. And it's, again, you guys mentioned a word earlier that I hold dearly, and it's the word vulnerability. Yep. And it's been this process of, I think, all of us shedding our layers in order for us to lead with vulnerability. Even just me getting to know Derek, for those who are listening, Derek Hudson, Jeff Hudson's son, he's their amazing operations manager. Yep. So he's just an integral part of the team, but just also having him just do so much with us. You guys, it's just been an incredible process. And one of the things that came to mind is, a lot of people are afraid to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. Vulnerability is a scary thing. Yep. We've learned a lot about that, Jeff.
Oh my goodness.
And it's
that's a podcast
on that one. It is. But one of the things about vulnerability is they looked for a long time of what are things that develop trust, and there was this idea of that. Well, once you trust somebody, then you're able to be vulnerable with them and really show your true self. And they did this study, and they found out that it was quite the opposite. You actually have to, in order to build trust, you have to lead with vulnerability for trust to even begin to be birthed. And it was this idea that you have to risk something of yourself in order for something beautiful to take place. And so it's cool to see, again, I've seen it in our relationship, I think, over the last year, but also, even how you've started this story of, how do we get involved with the community? You guys led saying, we want this to really be home. Mm-hmm. You were able to admit, we've been gone. We haven't been around. Right. We want, that's vulnerability in its own state. And then you actively pursued, well, what does it mean to be involved? And you did it passionately. And so I think that maybe that skill set of vulnerability has really come out in multiple facets, I think, over the past few years, as long as you guys have started to pour in this community, just in different avenues. Yeah. And it's just really cool to see. And it's been a blessing to get to know you guys and do fun things like this.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Real quick, I know we don't have much time, but give a shout out to my son, Derek. Without him, we wouldn't be where we're at today, honestly. And then Doug, Jared, Rusty, Robbie, Aaron, Chase, all of these. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Yeah. And Derek, his heart is, Josh, you know him.
He is one of the most loving people I have ever met.
He's amazing.
He is selfless.
He's sitting out there right now. He can't hear us. So
no, he can't hear us.
Oh, you turned it off? Yeah. No, I think I was muted right here.
Oh, okay.
So he can find this out later.
Right.
Yeah. My favorite story about Derek, just tell you how he is. When we were traveling, we get back to the hotel. We'd have this little condo. Derek would make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for everybody else, and he would do himself last. That's how he is. That's Derek in a nutshell.
Well, I think it goes back to what you guys were talking about earlier, that servant heart, that humility, that putting others first and really caring for people. And I think I clearly see it in you both. I see it in Derek. I see it in the things you do, the things you put your hands to, that you're there just looking to serve the community. And I think blatantly we just need more people doing that.
Thank you.
And so we're about at time. Before we close up, are there any final things you guys would like to make sure the audience gets to hear from you, or any final, calls to action you would really like to encourage others with?
Just, I guess, if you take everybody in Madison County, if one person would just volunteer just a little bit and just give a little bit back, imagine what our community could be.
I'll tag on to that. I just did a devotion on our men's breakfast, and it was about what an elder is. Some people are afraid of that term elder in a church because they think it's such a high and lofty term. It is, however. What that means, it's an overseer. It's an overseer of God's house. We're an overseer of our lives. If we give just a little bit, We don't have to give hours and hours like, oh, if I commit to this, it's going to be a huge commitment.
I mean, the podcast was hours and hours. This thing was a bane for you guys. Sorry.
But if you give just a little bit, the dividends are endless.
Yep.
It's about compound interest.
Yep.
Compound interest.
Honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Josh, thanks you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you for taking the time and letting the community get to know you guys a little bit more. And thank you for everything you guys are doing. And continue the pursuit. Continue, again, like, that the entrepreneurial journey, again, we're always chasing after something. But it seems like you guys have clearly identified the thing that you can chase after and actually maybe get. So thank you guys. Thank you all for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Flagship podcast, sponsored by Pinnacle Systems. Visit our YouTube channel for the full-length video podcast, or find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. New podcasts are posted every month, featuring local leaders from Central Indiana. For more content, follow us on social media at Flagship Enterprise Center. Until next time, thanks for listening.